Before the Witch Queen launch, I made a video ranking the 6 armor exotics that were coming out. I ranked them on paper, but as the season is ending, I want to re-rank them, seeing how far off I was in speculation and how some exceeded expectations. A lot of these exotics are very, very good. Some of the best that we've had, really. So much so that as the season is ending, look for Lost Sector days to get them or potentially a better roll. A great source on Twitter is D2 Lost Sector. Every day it updates to give the location, rewards, champions, burns, shields. Very useful. And it's going to continue to be useful as Destiny goes on each season. These new exotic rankings have reasons why I have placed them there. There's no doubt at some point something like Osmio was at the top. The Splendor Helm, Renewal. For sure, they were number 1 at some point. Each had highs and lows, but this list is taking the future into consideration, and I'm going to explain that as I go on. But before I get into my list, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Eating this great has never been this convenient, simple, and tasteful. Factor meals are fresh, ready-made meals delivered to your doorstep, and Factor's in-house dietitians work with Factor chefs to create food that's delicious and easy without sacrificing nutrition. And as a bonus, every Factor subscriber gets a complimentary 20-minute nutrition consultation to help them continue reaching their goals. Factor offers seafood, calorie smart, keto, vegetarian, and more. No more long meal prep or cleanup. These meals come together in minutes. Factor has over 27 meal options each week, and meal plans range from 4 to 18 meals per week. No more crazy delivery fees or the food being cold when it gets there. And it saves so much time. I'm at my desk all day, and I know you've been there. Maybe you're doing a raid, playing Iron Banner, then the party leader just needs to go to the tower. That's my cue. Headset down, I'm back in a couple minutes before they even know I left. Pick your meals, their gourmet chefs do the prepping and cooking, all you do is heat and eat in minutes. They have a great deal for us. Use my link or go to go.factor75.com and use code POGCoolGuy120 for $120 off. Factor isn't your ordinary meal service. Save time, save money, and eat healthy. Starting off at number 6, it was also number 6, dead last in my pre-launch video, the Blight Ranger, and it's a shame because it's one of the most beautiful pieces of gear in the game. Attacks that you deflect with your arc staff deal massively increased damage and increased orbs of power for your allies. Now, at the timing of this video, it's disabled. It's been disabled. The reason it was disabled was because it wasn't playing very nice. You could get some of that damage through ways that weren't intended. My original worry is that it wouldn't be enough. It's too niche. And all of that was true. I played with it. I mean, on deflection, it deals 6 times damage, which sounds great, but in my review and now, I still think that that's not enough, because remember, you do have Whirlwind Guard within the Arcstrider tree. It deals 3 times arc staff damage after you deflect something. But the main issue is that once you do start deflecting, it stuns them. Keep in mind that this isn't a dungeon. Lesser enemies are going to stun faster. Well, if you stun them, they can't shoot you. And if they can't shoot you, guess what? You can't deflect. So you have this weird situation where they're stunned and you're just twirling your stick, not doing anything. It's a mess and it was kind of buggy. The play loop doesn't really work because of the stun. You can literally, and you should, just Golden Gun them, Nova them, Thunder Crash them, Tether them. It's going to be way more of a benefit to you and your fire team. When it comes back online, please buff it, Bungie. It's never going to be a problem in the Crucible because the deflect itself already one-shots. If it's a 1v1 and you Nova me, I deflect it back, you're going down. So that means it would be for PvE. I see no issue getting the damage up on it because you still need the situation to deflect, and they still stun. So Blight Ranger, still at 6. Number 5. And this is where the ranking gets a little crazy because what I have ranked 4 and 5, I had them together and I'm pushing this one to the 5th spot. I'm going to bring it back up when I start talking about number 4, but there's no doubt, 0 doubt, this exotic was number 1 at some point. And if I were to make this ranking right now, not counting the future, it would probably be 1 or 2. But I do believe that the Loreley Splendor Helm is going to get a hit, and it's going to get a hit hard. I previously had it at 2. I now have it at 5. There's way too much uncertainty. We know that sunspots and other damage sources are getting the nerf in PvP to 15%, and it already got, quote, and imagine the most animated hand quotations you've ever seen, nerfed, and usually a second round of nerfs isn't a good thing. When it came out, it was brutal because you were getting sunspots for free. When it got nerfed, you had the ability to place a sunspot with your class ability. That's a new type of strong. And now that we're here, players caught on. I mean, I heard that it got destroyed, that it was bad, and oh man, it takes my 13-second class ability away. I don't know what to do. Yeah, well, once people woke up, they realized it's incredibly strong. Arguably better than before. So currently, I would use it until it gets hit. It's gonna get hit, they've already said it. But there's a real chance here, that once it gets hit, it's gonna get put down and never pick back up again. Nerfs can go that way sometimes, so I'm not gonna put it any higher. It's a great exotic that would be, again, number 1 or 2 right now, but a nerf is coming. And a nerf can go multiple ways. At number 4, the Hoarfrost Z. Previously, I had it at number 4. And when I compare it to the Splendor Helm, I don't think anything's going to happen to the Hoarfrost. It's really good right now. It has a lot of utility. And just because it's ranked number 4 out of 6 with these exotics, that doesn't mean that it's bad. Not at all. I think it's actually incredible for the Stasis kit. I've worked with it a bunch, and as I pointed out, it allows you to use the full Stasis kit without skipping a beat. You view that Glacier Grenade barricade as a 13-second actual Glacier Grenade. Because at tier 10, the actual Glacier Grenade is 45 seconds. It's a no-brainer. It allows you to constantly make shards, get Phantom Might with powerful stasis weapons in PvE. Not to mention, you can go even further with Charge with Light, picking up that shard, and then using High Energy Fire to double down. Well, not necessarily double down, but even more damage on top. And in the Crucible, it allows you to build heavy into cover. So much so that it's definitely a pain for the enemy team to see, but I've noticed it's also a pain for your team in PvP, because they have to kind of navigate around it. You can absolutely turtle up within seconds. Just throw out 3 abilities. Add in a headstone weapon, you're cooking with fire. I don't have a bad thing to say about it. I really like it. And it actually allowed me to lean into some other things with Behemoth that you didn't really before, like Diamond Lance. Seldomly used, but since I have a 13-second Glacier Grenade, I have the safety using it as cover. I have it as a tool to get shards going, and every single time I pop that barricade, I have resistance because of chains. Enough damage resistance that it's going to cost at least an extra bullet for my enemy in a primary duel. My 3-tap with the 140 is 0.87 seconds, their 4-tap is a 1.28. Can't say anything bad about that because in every engagement that is primary v primary, you have the upper hand. And you can do it every 13 seconds. It's faster with mods like Kickstart, and you get the rally benefits of range, reload, stability. It's awesome. It's at 4, but don't let it fool you. At number 3, it was also number 3 in my pre-Witch Queen speculation, the Renewal Grasps. Now, 100% they were number 1 at some point, but things change. The deal with them now is A, they're unchanged in PvE, and sometimes we forget how fast dust fields freeze and put in work in PvE. It does suck, and I do want to point out that it was nerfed specifically because of PvP, and that's highlighted because of the new base 152-second cooldown, but the DR is massive in PvE, and as far as the Revenant goes, it is a top choice. It still has worth in higher end content, higher tier enemies, making them do less, and you're taking less goes a long way. The Revenant still has a lot of tricks up its sleeves with the double melee throw, with the slow dodge. It's still good, and for PvP, the outgoing damage penalty applied to players affected by that dust field was reduced from 50% to 20%. Though not completely broken, there are some broken things about it still, and I really do hope that in the future Bungie adjusts pre-launch damage reduction exotics, or abilities, or aspects, whatever it is. And I want to know what you think about that, because it seems like they all get nerfed at some point, all of them. Stag, chains, this, whatever. It always gets nerfed, so why not just make all DR from something give like 10%? Enough to make a difference, but not enough to completely negate things. I don't know. Right now, they are still good in the Crucible, and I think the majority of PvP hunters don't really build craft, and with the pros and cons of this thing at the start, meaning you have to build 100 discipline. A lot did because the juice was worth the squeeze, but right now, with that cooldown being longer, the effect's not as strong, the exotic saw a massive drop off. But I went over in the updated review, it's still good. That's the theme, no matter what. If what you're doing requires little, I mean little perk trigger investment, meaning like in the Grasp case, the trigger for the benefit is literally throwing your grenade. It doesn't get any easier than that. And in turn, it makes your enemies take 1 or 2, 3 more bullets to kill you. That's a good exotic, no matter how you shake it. So if you do put these on, it's still warranted. You get the DR from the dust field, from the crystal that it forms when you have on chains, and then you make them do less damage if you throw it on top of them and they're inside of it with you. So even though nerfed, the benefits you get for little investment and perk trigger outweighs the cons. It's still very, very good. Now we're in the top 2. At number 2, I have the SECANT Filaments. Previously, they were my top number 1 overall with speculation. Your Empowering Rift grants you Devour. Damage dealt by you and your allies with that Empowering Rift will disrupt champions. Like, have you lived life to the fullest yet by hitting an Overload champion with a Galahorn? Because it's incredible. They really are. These are really good. We do have buffs coming to weapons soon. You can stun and overload with pretty much anything. There's a lot of value in that. You can go in any GM, you can go into any lost sector, any environment that has champions, and you're gonna excel. Then you add on things like Child of the Old Gods. And the little intrinsic stuff pairs perfectly that it has. Like you can pop Devour, get it going, get the Empowering Rift, shoot a shot, send out the child, send him on a mission to a group of enemies, watch that rift come back in seconds. Go to another area, pop it, get another child, send it out. It's a very complete exotic, one of my favorites that they've ever made. Really, they did a good job. And that translates into the Crucible. Though we're getting some damage numbers changing with the Empowering Rift, like more damage is more damage. And the ability to just pop full health on demand when you're low, maybe you're burning, you're on the last tick before death, you pop that Rift, instant full health, it's beneficial. And then when you pair that with the Old God, and the Old God has been showing up in trials, all game modes really, it's a nuisance. It drains, it gets you all types of energy back, and you're always pretty much walking around with Devour. And oh yeah, Void Walker is Void. So in PvE, you have Void 3.0, Volatile Rounds, all the things. Easy grenades because you have Devour giving you energy for your grenade. In the Crucible, Aspects and Fragments with the Old Gods, it's awesome. It's one of those exotics that's going to stand the test of time. And at number 1, it was previously number 5, the Osmiomancy gloves. I love these things. When I play Warlock, it's one of those two things. It's Osmio or SECANT. The Shadebinder is a beast, and we talked about it in the review for these gloves. You get 2 cold snaps. The exotic perk states you gain an additional charge for your cold snap. They recharge quicker on direct impact. The seekers spawn from the cold snap grenades travel further. And they also fixed them. You used to lose that second grenade charge on death. They fixed it, so now you don't lose it. It got better. And as we talked about in the review, the trick is to actually smack them with a cold snap on higher tier enemies. If you do that, it gives it instantly back. So there's the possibility of an infinite stun lock. 2 grenades also means 2 charges for the Bleak Watcher. And if you go every other one, smack them with it, get it back, throw out a Bleak Watcher. With the other charge, smack them with it, get it back, throw out a Bleak Watcher. You can have 3 to 4 Bleak Watchers out and still have both charges. Not to mention all the playing around you can do with the kit. We have shards, even Ice Flare bolts. Ice Flare in PvE with these things, it just keeps going and going. And arguably, Shadebinder is the best stasis subclass for PvE compared to Behemoth and Revenant. It's another exotic, at least I think, is going to stand the test of time. It's going to stick around. If you were to go into harder activities, it's a welcomed addition to your fire team. If you were to use these in Lost Sector solo, it's going to be a welcomed addition. You're going to do great with them. And in the Crucible, it hard counters like everything. You pair it with Ice Flare bolts, it's amazing. To this day, even last night, when I play Warlock, I play Shadebinder Osmiomancy. 2 cold snaps, freeze rift, Ice Flares. You shut down like everything in the game, makes a ton of plays. And because of the utility, you can go to PvE, the infinite loop cold snap freeze, the double Bleak Watcher, then go into PvP, have near the same deal. They're near perfect, one of my favorite exotics that they've ever made. We have the season ending with my choice, the top 2 going to actually both Warlocks. And on screen, I have the old list versus the new one. And it's kind of funny how Renewal, Blight Ranger, Hoarfrost stayed in the same spot, and they did so for various different reasons, except for Blight Ranger. We all kind of knew that one wasn't gonna be amazing. But at some point, 3 or 4 of these did have the number 1 spot. In a lot of players' eyes, SECANT can be number 1. Renewal was number 1 at some point. LORELEY right now might be number 1. The Osmiomancy might be number 1. You see how it goes? That's a good thing to me. I do feel like they're some of the best exotics that we've seen, and they're exotics that will stick around. I would love to hear your rankings though, how you view them. And remember, mine did have the Splendor Helm nerf. I took that into account because there's a lot of things we don't know about yet, so don't hold me against that. You don't have to write in the comment section, how is LORELEY number 5? I explained why. So if you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Each review is down below if you want in-depth looks. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.